What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rack'em Sack'em Robots. Today we're getting into this Grinning Malice pile. We're gonna take a look at it. I hate this deck. I forgot how much I hated this deck until I started playing it again, because it draws like a goddamn foo-wow. It is terrible. It is terrible. It will not give you lands if you need lands, and then it will just flood you randomly for no reason. Like this deck cannot draw lands, I'll tell you that. And then every once in a while it'll be like, hey, here's a land, and it'll just slap you in the face over and over again. The amount of times that you have to use, the amount of times you have to use this dynamite, amazing, baller, beautiful card to get a mountain is ridiculous. The amount of time that you have to spend using one of the best cards ever printed to get a goddamn mountain is ridiculous to me. That's beside the point, you guys. I've been playing all day trying to tweak this bad boy, trying to get it running, and I found the secret, though. I found the secret. That minute tirade aside, I've got the secret sauce. I've got the build that will win. I've got the build with the ditch-digging tools to get you out of them holes you've been living in. I swear to God, this build will work. It has worked, and it will continue to work. So let's take a look at it. We got 3 of these bad boys in here. They're going to tap, get us a land card. I love that because it's either or. The mana on this one actually shapes up pretty nicely. I like it. We got 11 and 9. That is pretty good. We got one of these guys. I actually don't like him too much. To be honest with you, I'd rather, I don't know. I want to see him, but if you see him late game, he's worthless. And he's really only good as a 1-drop, so I would want to see all 3 of them in here so that you're guaranteed to get it, in your opening grip or around your opening grip, but it's just not good enough to have 3 slots in my deck be taken up by it, but it's good enough to still make the cut. Hopefully you see it early enough every once in a while to make it worth it. Even late game you might be able to sneak it in there. I don't know. It gives your opponent a little too much time if you're playing it late game. This card right here is amazing. It's gonna grab, just yoink a dude. I mean, the amount of times that you can just recycle amazing enter the battlefield effects from your side of the field with this is insane. If they're down to 1 card, you can just dominate them if you have a couple of our later creatures in this dude in your hand. Next, we got freaking Typhoid Rats. This guy is amazing. I love this freaking card. It has got Death Touch. That's a 1-drop removal spell. I do not care where you are. This dude is a tank. I know not everybody runs him, but it touches with death. Look at that thing. Look at that creepy ass eyes staring at you, killing you softly with its gaze. I like this card a lot, to be honest with you. I like anything with Death Touch. They're terrified to block it. It'll do 1,000 damage to them. It's a guy. We got Vexen D. Vexen D is just going to slap its D all over people's faces because they will always take the 4. They will always take the 4. It's still pretty good, though, because 1 mana, deal 4 damage to your opponent is pretty great, even at sorcery speed. I choked on that a little bit. Jesus, water time. Demonic Tutor's Demonic Tutor. Read that freaking card whilst I feast on some water. Both that card and my water were refreshing. This card's amazing. Run it. It's great. Goblin Death Raiders. It's early. It's I need stuff to do early because I never expect this deck to get more than 4 mana in it. I never expect to have more than 4 mana on the field. So I need stuff to do early. This 3-1's not fantastic, but he does the job. He's going to get rid of a dude. It's basically early game. This guy comes down, kills a dude, deals 1 damage to your opponent. And I can live with that. That seems pretty good to me. Hope they don't have first strike. Onyx Mage is pretty much the same thing. He's got tricks. He's going to give your dudes Death Touch. For some reason, people constantly forget that this guy's ability exists. And they will do something to get him to stop attacking. He's been pacified before. I'm I don't know why you're pacifying a 2-1. Give another dude Death Touch. Get in there. Terminate is great. That's why they rhyme. It's fantastic. It might be a slant rhyme. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good card. It's going to destroy something. Can't be regenerated. That second little bit there is amazing. And it's why it's shocking that something this good is 2 mana instant speed. Moving over to Blizzightning. This thing is insane. It's going to deal 3 damage to your opponent, and if that wasn't sexy enough, it is also going to slap 2 cards out of their hand and into their discard pile. It's great in all situations. I'm never sad to play it. This dude up there in the top left, he just reads shitty Blood Artist. That's what this card says. That's what that card says to me. That says Blood Artist that costs 1 more and doesn't give me life. That says bad Blood Artist up there, but I still run him because Blood Artist is that good. If Blood Artist was in this deck, I would be skipping and dancing all day long because I'd have so much gasoline in here, it wouldn't even be funny. Still, this guy's going to do enough to make him worthy of a spot in our deck. Speaking of things that are worthy of a spot in our deck, how about some Blood Witch action? We got a new one coming down the pike in Paper Magic, but right now we're talking about this girl. She is just a utility. Dude, she's utility. She's going to do all sorts of crazy stuff. She's going to draw you cards. She's going to damage stuff. She's going to do all sorts of things. Like, target creature or player, you usually just nug them. But the funny thing is that we can bring, like, our creatures back. So if we kill something crazy, we can go ahead and, where the hell is it? We can go ahead and reanimate it and get all silly. We just got silliness all over the place. So I love this card. This is the only deck, I may be mistaken, but this is the only deck that is going to give us 2 Elijahs. And we definitely take advantage of that because it says Liege. That means that if both of them are out, they just go apeshit bananas on each other and all your chums. Everybody's going to be +2/+2 at the least, +4/+4 at the happiest. This guy's amazing. With the 5 drop slap you in the face, dude, that guy comes down as 9. He comes down as 9. That's instant speed. Basically, 9 damage to your nut sack. That's insane. I love it. I've been playing this game way too much today. Get a little loopy, but moving on to Blazing Spectre. This dude is hasting, which means that he's going to just run across the field, slap a card out of your opponent's hand. I love when my opponent does not have cards, because it means they do not have plays, which means that I have time to find that damn 5th mana that's hiding in my pile. Speaking of 4 drops to kick ass, how about some Hellhole the Rats? This card is insane. Look at that card. Look at rah. That's what he's doing. Rah. That's what he's doing. That is the sound that guy would make if cards made sound. That's probably something that they should work on. Putting those little, you know, like the greeting cards that you fold, like when you shuffle, your cards make sounds. Not shuffling sounds. This dude also gets rid of a card from your opponent's hand, but they choose it. But they choose it all like shiftily and sadly because they're going to take damage equal to converted mana cost. I don't have to tell you how good that guy is. Now we got another 4 drop. It doesn't take the card out of their hand. That's sad. That makes me sad. Like, the picture's metal as hell. Like, this is an awesome looking card. And it's a 3/2 for 4. That's okay. It doesn't take the card from the opponent, but that's really the only drawback. It's still going to do that damage, and it is rando. As long as you make sure that they don't have mana by, like, okay, if you Wrecking Ball a land a couple of times, then that means that they are going to play mana every turn. If they have, like, they have to play mana. Like, they can't grip up a mana and hold on to it. Conversely, on the other side of that, if you're playing against this deck, hold on to a mana, because then when they lay Hellhole Rats, you're just like, mana, and they're like sad-faced. Or when they play this guy, you've got, probably at that point in the game, you've got like a 25% chance that you'll just show a land and you'll be happy and they'll be sad, instead of the other way around, where you're sad, and that's not good. But if you Wrecking Ball, which destroys target creature or land, if you Wrecking Ball their lands, they don't have that option because they have to cast spells against you. So these 2 cards work really well together. There's synergies. Oh my god, I'm all the way down here. Oh my god, I'm upstairs now. Where's my cursor? Oh, there it is. Now we got Bitch Slap Blast. This thing's going to cascade into one of these earlier cards, which is sickening. It's also going to deal 4 damage to target creature, not player. You can't go to the face with this. So it's not as beautiful and sexy as some of us would like it to be, but it's still got Cascada on there, which means it sees play all day in my deck. Then we got 3 of these guys. This is the guy I was talking about earlier that comes down as like a 950 or something like that. He'd be a 9/8 because it'd be 1 less. Anyway, this guy is sick. He's a 5 drop. He grabs his buddies out of the yard. I tried running only 2 of them, but I missed him. I missed him so much. Not to mention the fact that I want them to kill one of them, because then that's 10 damage that they don't expect. He's sickening against the mill, too. Like, mill is just like crossing their legs, trying not to pee themselves every time that you are this deck against them. Because they're like, oh my god, if I get rid of any demigod, and even, like, there's so many ways. Like, all you have to do at that point is draw one demigod to just slap their faces off. Or, conversely, you can trash all 3 demigods as long as you have freaking this guy. Hold on, we'll go all the way back just to show how beautiful that is. You just reanimate that son, and you're like, hey, buddy, get up here. And he's like, wait a minute, can I bring my friends? And you're like, of course you can bring your friends. Let's have a party. A 15 damage to your face party, blue guy. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I like that. God, my throat is so dry today. A Defiler of Souls. I don't know what he does to them to defile them, but I don't really want to think about it. He's going to wreck a monocolored creature. He's not fantastic in today's crazy, tumultuous times that we're living in, but he's still good enough. I know I've got some monocolors in here, but he's still amazing. Speaking of monocolors, this guy's name is Massacre Worm. He's still good. He is Massacre Worm. Not to mention, okay, so looking at Massacre Worm, looking at how good Massacre Worm is, we're going to go all the way back to the front, back to the future. And we're going to talk about these guys again. I guess I could have kicked it upstairs, but that's no fun. Okay, I always get black with this, because black is the only double spell that we have. Defiler is 2 black, and then our good buddy Massworm is 3 black. So whenever I have an Evolving Wilds, I'm going to grab a black, because I only need 1 mountain, and I've got 11 mountains in the deck. So if you are running this build, I cannot think of a reason to not grab. I mean, you would have to be really screwed. Like, really screwed, which is not super surprising considering how the mana works out in this deck. But you would have to be in Troubletown Population U, and you are being elected the mayor. That's how much trouble you're in if you have to look for a mountain with that guy. So kicking upstairs, don't want one of those. Already talked about that guy. This is just terrible. This is just terrible. I don't want to... Oh, God, like... Sure, I lose a lot of life. I've got some cards that'll cost me some life. But it's just, it's no. He's not good enough. This guy's too late. Like, they tried to put these in all these decks from this set that we bought, and they're still not good. Scoot Mob's terrible too. Stabbing Pain is stabbingly bad. Stick Kindler. Gives dudes haste, but I don't really need haste considering how my deck works. It's taking up too much room. It's a 2-drop that makes me sad, and I don't want to be sad. This guy's a 2-drop that also kind of makes me sad. I mean, it can get to work. It can win some matches for you, but I'm losing a lot of life to my own spells. Now, I don't want to waste a spell gaining life, but I also don't want to do unnecessary damage to myself. Like, this deck gets pretty low. Like, you'll hit below 10 a lot of times before you can stabilize. Usually your stabilization, your stabilizing move, is enough damage to kill your opponent in that one, you know, match-altering or game-altering turn. So I really don't want this guy to make me even lower and make their tricks even sexier. I don't know. You get too tricky with yourself with this girl. This guy doesn't block, so I don't like him. I have to have the option to block. Like, I guess you guys probably know about that from if you watched my Gruul unlocking videos, which still aren't finished, but I like options. I like to know what's going to happen. I like the option to block. I don't like being told I can't block. That's not good for me. Dude's big. That dude can get huge if Liege is out, but he's just not good enough for me. This thing has me discard 2 cards, and then they just kill it, and they laugh at me, and I don't like that at all. This thing just does 1. If it said deals damage equal to its power to target creature, I would love this thing. I would love that. I would sleep with a play set of these guys under my pillow. But it says 1 damage. It's just Tim. It's just janky Tim. I don't like that. Can't go to the face. Nah, none of that stuff. Hey, remember how I said I like having control over my matches and knowing what's going to happen? Look at the first word in the title, Chaos. This card's amazing, man. Like, you can do some crazy things with it. You can get super tricky. You can play all sorts of silliness. You can do it to yourself, you can do it to your opponent, but if you do it to yourself, you're always going to flip something that's not a permanent, and you're going to just weep uncontrollably. I mean, it's just, I can't control it, so I don't run it. I know a lot of people love it, and they run it, and I mean, hey, maybe you're luckier than I am, but I never get a happy result from playing that guy. Heat Shimmer, it's just, it's like take your dude, but I don't really get your dude. It's like Act of Treason, but not as good because their dude is still there, and if it's untapped, then you're just bashing dudes against each other. It'll kill a legendary for you, which is pretty sweet, but it's just not, I don't know, it's not gravy enough for me. This thing is just slow, I don't like that. This guy, I wanted to be good, like I ran him up until my last version of this build, like 0.8. Like, that was how far he made this in this build. But he just doesn't make it at the end of the day. He's a 3-drop that's a 1/1. He's got first strike, but they're always going to kill it. I wanted to run him, you guys. I tried really hard. He just doesn't work. Same thing with this guy. He even costs more, which makes him worse. They just don't do it for me. One of these is upstairs, like I said. Capricious! Yeah, Frit is up here because I don't have control over what's going on with him. We got, oh god, dude, I love Doctar, but like I said, I don't see that many lands. Like, honestly, if you were running this deck and you were just drawing lands like a fiend, throw frickin' this guy in there, because he's amazing. Like, I love this card. This card is sick. I've played him in other Duels of the Planeswalkers, but he just can't make it into this build, because I don't trust the mana. I just don't trust the mana that much in this one. We got Grave Titan. Both of them are upstairs. Calm down. Hold on. I know. I love titties. Okay, we got 2 of them. We got a left and a right. Right here. Well, I did that backwards. But you know what I'm saying. We got 2 tits. Both upstairs. Because like I said, I do not have that much mana often enough to cast this guy. You saw my deep end of the pool. It's kind of shallow. So we can't run this guy. I need more value, because if they kill this guy, if I somehow get up to 6 mana and they kill this guy, then I've just got 2 zombies out there, and that's just not good enough for me. At least my other dude's a removal spell, and frickin' Massacre Worm is a frickin' G unit, so I'll keep him in there all day. Mouth Gore, that guy, no. I mean, it's good. It costs a lot, but I don't know, I just don't like him. I have to get rid of all my hand. Like, if they find a way to deal with this guy, my entire hand is gone. I don't have answers anymore. Like, I want answers. Like, I just said earlier that I like it when my opponent doesn't have a hand. My opponent likes it when I don't have a hand. So I can't run him. Rakdos, he's defiling people as well. I mean, he does stuff, but I have to sack a bunch of stuff. It's kind of the same thing with this guy. It limits my options. And I'm the type of player that likes to have as many options as possible. I like to limit my opponent's options while keeping mine open so that I can react to the few things that they are able to just vomit out onto the field desperately. This guy just costs too much. I love this freaking guy. Just look, oh, he's so good because they can't, no matter what they do, they have to take damage to get rid of him. Like, no matter what they do, they have to spend some kind of mana to get rid of this guy. But he's not good enough. They actually have a better version of him, just spoiled, actually, for the new set for Dragon's Maze. So if you guys are into paper magic, get on your spoilers. I'm going to do stuff for it later on. But they have a better version of this guy. Pretty much I mean, I'm reading, I'm trying to remember what the new guy reads, but I'm pretty sure he's better in every single way. I think he's cheaper. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a better version of this dude in every single way, so that's something to get excited about. Avatar of Slaughter! Great metal album, I imagine, but just not good enough for my deck. All creatures get crazy, and they just, like, running at each other, and doing flips and tricks and shit. It's not worth it. Den of Fire Herd costs way too much. I mean, it just costs too much. It's a good card. Like, at this point in time, the bottom text, like the block of text you're reading right now, sounds good. You're like, well, that's great. But then when you look top right corner, it just costs too much. You can't do it. The Empiric Dragon is just gone. I mean, you can't cast him. He costs way too much. So there you go. That's pretty much everybody. Oh, I forgot to say my Malfagore's Malfagon joke. Oh, it's so funny, too. You guys must have loved it. I accidentally hit the circle button, so I guess we're leaving, looking at this pretty picture. Hopefully my throat gets a little less dry when we get in here and do some gameplays. Anyway, you guys, hope you enjoyed the 60. This is the build that I am running. It is not my ideal build. If I could control the amount of mana in this deck, it would be a much different build. And if I could trust the mana, it would be even more different. But this is the build that I guarantee will get you some wins out there in the world. So we're going to be playing a couple matches this week, obviously, just like every week. Hopefully we can scrape together some wins. Like I said, I mean, this deck is just frustrating to play with because I feel like the draws are just the worst out of any of the decks, and I don't know why that would be. But I just always feel sad and frustrated when I play this for the most part, except this build has proven to be much better than what I'm used to with it. So definitely if you have a different build that draws better, that you feel works better than this one, be sure to hit up the comments because I would be very interested to see what you guys have to say about this deck. I know you've been asking for my build for it quite a bit. It's to be honest with you, it's not a deck that I play a lot with. I did do a lot of testing to get to this particular list, but I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say, so please, please, please let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my build, and I will see you tomorrow when we see our first victim.